This is one of the most argued and controversial topics in comic book collecting.
In my opinion, is to hold this book back, which I have for the last 9 months.
I don't think you should sell this book right now. This right here is one of the most exciting books on this list to me. The hottest books in the world this week, and we've been holding back selling some of these comic books. Is this the time to start moving them, or should we keep holding? Number 10 on the list, Creature Commandos' first appearance in Weird War Tales, issue number 93.
This animated show, Creature Commandos, I've been watching it. I know you've been watching it, and we've been both enjoying it, and it seems like audiences are loving it as well. We saw unbelievable viewership with Invincible because they're crushing it. And now they're crushing it with this series. And it is so much fun to see these characters. And I'll tell you what I love about this show. It's more than just seeing more of a backstory of odd characters and them kind of working as a team, but it's also tying it into the real shows that we are done with, like Peacemaker and Suicide Squad, because you're seeing a continuation of what we thought would be the last time we ever saw them. And it's actually refreshing to see their stories continue on, even though it's in an animated format.
95% ratings from critics, 85% from the audience score. My favorite ongoing superhero television show that I'm watching weekly right now. Episode 2, get an origin of Lady Frankenstein. Hysterical, but moving as well. Episode 3, G.I. Robot took over the screen. I'm now looking for his first appearance. More on that in a second. And then episode 4 with the backstory of Weasel, one of the most gripping and sad pieces of television that I've seen in a superhero show in a very long time.
Clearly, people are loving this show, and their eyes are wide open, and so are their wallets. Because I haven't seen a book have this many record-breaking sales in a very, very long time. The 9.6 is up 41% with the $675 sale. The newsstand 7.0 hit a record high sale from its previous 2023 sale of $145 is now up 72% with a $250 purchase. The newsstand 9.4, another record breaker, from a $500 purchase in 2023, up 20% with a $600 sale. And the newsstand 9.6, up 13% from its $1,500 high in February of this year to $1,700 now.
We haven't chatted about this book in a little less than a month, and there's only been 3 comics added to the census. Can't say that about almost any books on our list that we've covered this year alone. It means that this book is actually kind of tough to secure at all. And if you are looking to hunt for these types of comics, I encourage you to download Key Collector Comics, because you can just look up the category Creature Commandos. If there is a particular character, because there's been a lot of people who have joined this team, you can type in their character name and then see all the key books relevant to said character. Use code TOM101 to unlock a free 2-week subscription of the app and support the show. I think you should be looking at Dr. Phosphorus's first appearance in Detective Comics 469, because we haven't gotten his origin story yet. And I did mention G.I. Robot. That book, Weird War Tales, issue number 101, has been selling aggressively. I'm kind of surprised it hasn't made the trending list yet.
7 Soldiers Frankenstein number 3, First Lady Frankenstein, which, like you said, has been a standout character in this show, and it's fun to see how it's going to progress. And that's a fairly new book, so it's probably out there and easy to grab. But I got to tell you, no matter how I see it, whatever way I can get it, I love having DC War on this list. 70s DC War and 70s DC horror are unbelievable genres and should be appreciated by masses more than they are right now.
Which brings us to number 9 on the list with Silver Surfer number 3, the first appearance of Mephisto, getting a lot of love this past week, courtesy of Agatha All Along, the name drop in episode 3 from season 1. But this is spec that began back in WandaVision days. And I also want to point out that Silver Surfer 4, the iconic cover, has been on our list this year more than the first appearance of Mephisto in one issue prior, issue number 3. I find that curious. Let's get into that in a second. We have the 2.5 up 8%, the 3.0's up 29%. That's a year high sale, selling for $225. The 6.0 is up 15%, 7.5, 8%, and the 8.0 is up 6% with a $750 sale. Clearly, people are banking that Sacha Baron Cohen rumors are correct and that he's going to don the Mephisto cape and cowl in the Riri show, Ironheart. But still no news on that. It's 6 months to the day of this filming that we can expect to see Riri's show on Disney+. So we have a little bit of time. I think people are gearing up for the eventuality that we may see Mephisto.
This is one of those books I am not going to sell right now. And I haven't for the last 9 months. I am holding on to this book as well as another 1 or 2 on this list because the market is down way too low and there's nothing but potential for a lot of books to be, hopefully, in 2025.
I find it curious that we've talked about Silver Surfer 4 so much this past year, which is a non-key book beyond the iconic cover that it is. One of the most famous comic book covers of that era, some would argue all time. Issue number 3, one issue prior, is a key book. We're talking about it right now, First Appearance of Mephisto. And right there, it actually demonstrates just how important a comic cover is as it pertains to value and key worthiness.
Covers matter. And here we go, guys. Hold on. Because in at number 8 is Incredible Hulk 180. So where's this conversation going to go? To Hulk 181, first full appearance of Wolverine. Because Hulk 180 has been designated as the cameo appearance. And everyone trends towards the 181 being more valuable. And I think that matters because the cover is so amazing.
This is one of the most argued and controversial topics in comic book collecting. We have a 5.0 up 18%, 5.5 20%, 6.5s up 16%, the 7.0 sold for $740 up 3%, just like the 3% increase on the 8.0 going for $950. Don't get it twisted, Hulk 181 clearly is in more demand than Hulk 180. Key Collector even notates that on the list, but because Hulk 180 is more affordable, there are more sales to report on and more opportunities for it to outdo its recent 12-month average, thus placing it more likely on our list. It's another example about why covers matter. You think of things like Gambit's first appearance in 266, but coming out earlier, the Annual 14. A weaker cover, a lesser wanted book.
I think all that tracks. It makes sense. The cover is definitely going to matter because that's what you see at first. Another prime example. There was an Iron Man and Submariner number 1. Okay, and that predates Submariner number 1 and Iron Man number 1. But guess what outsells it? Iron Man number 1's unbelievable cover just attracts and is absolutely sells by far more than its predecessor.
Number 7 on the list, Uncanny X-Men issue number 94. A landmark historical issue, but it's a second appearance. And although it's an iconic cover, it is not a prolific cover that gets its value solely because of the artwork. No, it's about what happened on the inside and what was going on historically with the X-Men during that time period. The 3.5's up 15%, the 5.0 10%, the 6.0's up 7%. You can get a 7.5 for $730. That's up 12%. And oh my goodness, a 9.2 year high sale selling for $3,050. That's up 69%.
Don't consider that the norm or the trend for this book at a 9.2 because just a few days later, we saw a $1,750 sale, more along that 12-month average of $1,800, which makes more sense.
It's crazy to think how much mutant setup we've gotten over the years. I don't think people talk about this enough. I think that's why the comics are selling, but they're not going for crazy numbers yet because it's the calm before the storm. Don't forget, you have Ms. Marvel, Marvels, Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, X-Men 97. What If is going to debut Storm in the MCU shortly, just a couple days, but she's going to be wielding Mjolnir because it's an animation and it's like a different type of show. But that is going to be her introduction to the MCU officially because What If counts.
It's already been revealed that Kamala Khan is a mutant, and let's not forget the 2 largest mutants in cinema this year alone, Deadpool and Wolverine. And with Avengers Secret Wars coming out, and apparently rumor has it that mutants are going to be in that film, that we're sure to see more X-Men experiences coming our way in any form that we can get it, whether it's through What If or it's through any other forms of cinema. But another thing that's crossing over, which is exciting, is here at number 6, Amazing Spider-Man number 316. Rumors, again, that Venom and symbiotes are going to be coming to the MCU.
That's right. 7 different sales, over $1,300 worth of money's moved. And this is the first cover appearance of Venom. We see all this symbiote attention on Peter Parker symbiote keys. We're seeing it on ASM 300. But let's not forget about these key Venom McFarlane covers. And this one is selling very aggressively at a very interesting time. This is the first time this book has landed on the Hot 10 this year.
Being as hot as this book is, it's still the first full, but the prior issue, issue 315, does have a little head bubble of Venom on there that a lot of collectors also still enjoy picking up as a key book for themselves. The newsstand 8.5 had a year-high sale of $165. That's up 46%. The 9.4 is up 29%. The 9.6 is up 21%. And the newsstand 9.6 up 15% with a $350 sale.
Join our SMS group and be entered in all of our show giveaways. This week's giveaway is an Amazing Fantasy starring Spider-Man issue 1000, covered by J. Scott Campbell, sorted and signed by J. Scott Campbell. You keep up on all of our drops, you get special discounts, and you are part of all weekly giveaways, and I want you to win this. So join the group, and let's move on to number 5 on the list with Captain America 100.
6 sales above the 12-month average for almost $2,200 spent. This is the first solo-tiled issue of Captain America. Prior, he was in Tales of Suspense and alternating issues with Iron Man.
The 4.5 is up 25%. The 6.0 is up 1%. The 6.5 is up 17%. The 7.0 up 1%, went for $449, and the 7.5 sold for $500, up 3%. So much news regarding Captain America, as if Sam Wilson wasn't our current Captain America, because we have news about Steve Rogers, Chris Evans possibly reprising his role, maybe taking the mantle back, or coming back as Nomad, or coming back as a different, maybe evil version of Captain America. We've had a lot of spec on Captain Carter, Peggy Carter coming back and reprising her role. And we have Captain America Sam Wilson, Brave New World, coming out in February. And this is actually, let's not forget, his first actual tryout on the big screen as Captain America. His show, which happened years ago, kind of set him up to take on the mantle officially, and there hasn't been anything in between then. And I think that this has largely been sabotaged at this point because of how mismanaged this movie has been getting to the screen. So many delays has definitely set him up to not have a fair chance wielding that shield, in my opinion.
In my opinion, is to hold this book back, which I have for the last 9 months.
ASM 129, I don't think you should sell this book right now. This right here is one of the most exciting books on this list to me.
6 sales above the 12-month average for over $11,000 spent. This is one of those scenarios where it transferred from comics to screen so well. People love John Bernthal, and not just comic collectors. This character has been anchored into outside of the comic realm. People love this badass character.
We got Daredevil Born Again coming. Clearly, John Bernthal's reprising his role. Just imagine, if Daredevil goes well, they can do a Punisher Born Again. Would anyone be surprised? The 3.5 is up 10%, 6.5, 17%, 7.5 you can get for 17 hundo, up 14%. We saw a Mark Jewelers 8.5 sell for $29.50. That's up 1%, a horrendously tough book to acquire. And then the 9.2 sold for $33.60, up 14%. These are some strong numbers.
In comparison to where this book was selling just 3-4 months ago, these are actually really nice numbers for anyone who may have picked up this copy of this book any time this year, to be honest. So if you're looking for a quick flip, great. I still think there's potential for growth. And like I said, I've held back 4 issues of this book because it just seems so low. And right now, it's proving that I made the right call because some of these numbers are double where they were just 6 months ago.
I think characters like Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Daredevil, Kingpin, of course, Punisher, since they debuted during the Netflix era, they were introduced to the mainstream audience differently than most of the MCU characters that we know and love. The fact that they're coming back gives them a different opportunity to land with the mainstream again. Proving my point this last couple weeks with the Marvel Rivals game, Punisher being one of the characters that is playable.
Did I mention how covers matter? Because in at number 3 is Amazing Spider-Man number 300, one of the most iconic covers in all of comic books. And this book has sold 9 times this week above the 12-month average for $3,661. This is the first full appearance of Venom. But in issue 299, Cameo, we did see quite a few panels, but this is the one that is in demand the most.
I did an interview with Todd McFarlane where he went on record to say that he always thought 299 was the first full appearance. And he was actually surprised that collectors deemed ASM 300 as the key book to own. Curious.
Covers matter.
Well, we have newsstands between 5.5 and 7.5, all outdoing the recent 12-month average at every grade point. The 7.5 direct, up 11%. The 8.5 direct, up 3%. The 9.2 direct, up 3%. And the 9.4 direct sold for $663, up 9%. Notice, no 9.8s and no 9.6s to report on between newsstands or direct market copies. These are lower grade purchases because they're more affordable, but it shows how in demand this book is. Probably because of the cover and key significance.
And definitely not because of its scarcity. And you also want to know what's not scarce? Number 2 on this list, relentless as ever, is Secret Wars number 8.
Join the Mystery Mail Call 1 per box, Magic number 1 by John Boy Myers. Support the show directly, and we'll send you funny books every month by going to comictom.com. This book had 11 sales, approaching $5,000 worth of money's moved this week. Clearly, one of the hottest books in the world, week over week. I'm checking my numbers. This has been on the Hot 10 this year 22 of the 51 weeks of reporting.
This week, 4 copies outsold the 12-month average in a 9.6, one trading 24% higher at $320. The 9.8 is up 14% with a $560 sale, and the newsstand 9.8 sold for $1,200. That's up 25%.
That does sound a little bit high, but when you're talking about the difference of like paying $50 to $100, that's more about someone wanting to secure their copy now and they don't want to be patient or they don't want to risk it. But I don't think there's much risk in this book right now. Seeing this go for $500, I think is a little bit of an overpayment. This could be sub $400 shortly. The census count has exploded on this comic book. We haven't chatted about this book in 6 days. Since then, 51 new copies have been added to the census, 9.8.
Wild.
Big happy holidays to every single person. I want to give you a big thank you for watching our show every single week that we've been doing this for over 4 years. Been doing YouTube stuff strong for over 7 years now. And Jeff, thank you for joining me at the table covering the hottest books in the world. Let's talk about the number one hottest book this week. The last number one of 2024, Incredible Hulk, issue number 340. The hottest book during the holidays of 2024.
Every week, I can't believe it. Another 12 sales above the 12-month average, not even the ones below it or at it. So to see this book here just speaks volumes. And we had a 9.4 sell up 18% for $300 with 3 other copies in that same grade sell above the 12-month average. The 9.6, 3 copies outsold the 12-month average with one 14% higher for $410. In the newsstand, 9.6 up 16% for $547.
Last week, I asked for people to showcase their 340s on Instagram. Send me a DM if you own this book. I'm going to throw that out to the YouTube fam here today. If you have this book, send me a picture, send me some proof, and I expect that we're going to be talking about this book again probably next week or the week after, and we'll show you on screen. But I also want to throw this out there for ASM 300 and Secret Wars 8 covers, because I think people are underestimating when we cover a book just how popular it is. Because, yeah, we're reporting on 12 sales above average, but you kind of alluded to it. That doesn't count for all the sales that were at average, below average, or just selling in general. 12 sales can mean hundreds of books on eBay alone, let alone what's happening at conventions, on Instagram, whatnot, etc.
I want to see those pictures as well, so DM me at Golden Age Guru on IG.
And as always,
Treat yourself right and geek responsibly.
enough said.